Okay, good afternoon. Well, thank you for being here. And yeah, being one of the last speakers as always can be a bit difficult, but I hope your batteries haven't been drained yet. Mr. Scott, I was really impressed by your presentation, first of all, but especially the part when you approached the Nissan dealer in Santa Monica. I'll come back on that later. Let me first introduce myself. Can I have the first slide? Okay. So I'm responsible for innovation on the topics mobility and sustainability within Athlon Lease. Athlon Lease is a car lease provider in 10 European countries with a footprint of 240,000 vehicles. We are a subsidiary of De Lage Landen, based in 35 countries and doing basically vendor finance. And De Lage Landen is 100% owned by Rabobank, Food and Ag Bank, also in 48 countries. I established the innovation department in 2005, and well, I had a kind of a carte blanche to do innovations. And what I did first was to see what kind of trends were actually threatening our current business model, leasing cars to businesses. And I found, let's say, pollution, air quality. I saw that there were 900 million cars on the globe, and in 2030 they expected it to be 2 billion. Countries willing to have an oil independency. And basically we are a huge facilitator with 240,000 vehicles of both traffic jams and CO2 emissions. So we were thinking, okay, what can we do about that? So we turned these threats into, let's say, challenges. So how can we, opportunities, how can we make a new business model? So basically, we came up with a 5-step sustainable mobility plan as being a car provider, only selling cars, only selling kilometers. And we said, okay, no, first, do you have to travel? Can you work from home? Can you teleconference, Skyping? So we opened flex centers, and we made our customers, our end users, more aware of maybe not traveling. The second step is once you have to travel, just make use of the right mode of transportation, which is not necessarily a car. So we included electric bicycles, electric scooters, electric motorcycles. We do car sharing. We took a minority stake in Snapcar. Snapcar is, for the US people, it's quite similar to Get Around, so it's a peer-to-peer platform. And by working together with them, we are going to introduce corporate car sharing. So if we make an air picture of one of our customers, we see a lot of cars idling during working hours. So what can you do with these cars? Maybe some other co-workers who don't have the availability of a lease car, let them use these vehicles, or maybe open the community towards others. The third step is about our core business, which is still 95% of our revenue stream. So either take an energy-friendly one or one with a new technology. And I really emphasize on new technology because in certain countries green gas is more valid. In other countries it's a combination. And in 2008 we started our charged development program in order to help our customers with a one-stop shop, because I was thinking in 2010 we would have 20% of the fleet being electric. Well, I was a bit too positive. The fourth one is, in my opinion, the most interesting one, because this is about behavior. So in Europe, people getting a lease car, let's say 800 euros, and you get this car, and you drive, every day you are part of the traffic jam, because your boss have told you you have to be there at 8:30, and you can leave at 5. So you are there conditionally in your car. But it can be different. So once you are giving people a budget instead of a car, and give them the facility of different modes of transport, people are willing to make different choices. But this has also to do with change management. So HR and facilities, they have to work together. So this is a bit of a longer run. But this is very interesting to see, because this whole plan was subject to an independent research report. And we found out for our small fleet on our headquarters, 120 cars, 23% CO2 reduction and 220,000 euro savings on an annual basis. So therefore, we started our own consultancy branch, Athlon Mobility Consultancy, to help customers drive their car policy towards mobility policies. And we are also making a shift, talking about profitability. In general, 20% of the employees of our customers are entitled to have a lease car. The other 80 are not. But these companies want to be sustainable, so they want to have a good solution for 100% of their employees. So we can grow fivefold in the end user base. So we are thinking it's going from B2B towards B2E, and in the end it will become B2C. We also see some new trends like Generation Y. People are thinking very different about possessing something. They are more like performance-based. I want to pay for what I'm using. And we see the new way of working. So you are not, it's not mandatory to be in the office at 8:30 and leave at 5. It's more performance-based. And of course, urbanization. So in 2050, 70% of the world population lives in cities. What would you do with your lease car? Can you park it? Can you get from A to B? So those are very interesting drivers for us to do things differently. So to emphasize that EVs is just a part of our holistic view on sustainable mobility. Let's go into some examples what we are doing. The A15 Energy Highway project is a privately run project funded by the National Zip Code Lottery, funded 4.5 million euros. The goal is to have 3,500 EVs on the roads by the end of 2015 for 40,000 users in all kind of different schemes in car sharing. So therefore, we took a stake in this Snapcar company to have the technology to make this happen, because the car sharing thing existed already in the 60s. But then it was, I had to sign something, and now you can just open the car or make the reservation with your phone, open the car with your phone. The insurance, everything is going through a certain system. So collaborative consumption is very, very important thing. So it's not about owning a thing, it's about using a thing. Another project is about the AllElectric Street, which is in the province of Brabant. We are working together with several stakeholders in order to create 22 houses which are equipped with solar, with geothermal, and with battery storage. Normally a household in Europe has 1.5 cars, so 22 times 1.5 is 33 cars, with their own driveway, etc. So we will just design it in a very different way. So you have maybe 18 cars, you have some electric bicycles, you have some bicycles, some electric motorcycles, you have your mobility app, and you just use what you do. So in order, talking about profitability, in order to make this all happen, people might be a bit awkward to go into all these new technologies and a new way of living. So we call it living 3.0. So it's working, it's living, and it's mobility all combined. So the trick is, and I'm working for a financial institution, to take the upfront cost out and to finance it also in a different way. So kind of a corporation where you finance, let's say, the mobility assets, the solar, and so on. People pay a fixed subscription for that, and performance-based, you pay what you use. Well, this is very new, but I think we are the ones who are able to do that. So we are into this project. We expect a lot of this because probably in 4 or 5 years' time, this will be kind of mainstream. Tesla, our corporation, like Peter mentioned, I'll come back later on. So co-creation, in my opinion, is key to, because we are all going into something new. Something has to change. So innovation, let's say 1 decade before, was done in a very secret way. Don't tell anyone, and then you had the launch. And then you were the only one with this very new product or service. Right now, I think it's the key to find out people, companies, who are thinking the same way and just do it together, like we do in the A15 project, but also in the AllElectric Street. But also with Tesla. So in beginning 2010, I approached Elon Musk and I said, well, we have this 5-step sustainable mobility plan, and I think it's a good thing that we do a top-down for the CEOs of our companies. So offer them your sexy car, and make sure in the car policy all other people are also allowed to have an electric vehicle. So I think the first time I was there in Silicon Valley was April or May 2010. And 2011, we did the Roadster Lease program just to find out if the two parties could work together. Last year in Geneva, we signed the first contract, and we pre-ordered the first 150 cars. Can you imagine what kind of discussions I had internally? New manufacturer, new technology, 150, are you nuts? Well, I give you the conclusion already. We did 300. So we doubled it. And everybody was thinking, we can never sell these cars, 150 cars. What I also promised our board was, well, let's not do a copy-paste of our traditional leasing scheme, what we do for the past 40 or 50 years. Just do something new. So I proposed multiple cycle lease. So the first 4 years, and Tesla helps us with the remarketing or releasing support. So they will then, for example, the 300 cars we are going to lease out this year, they will come back in 4 or 5 years. If you, in 3, 4, or 5 years, you walk into this Tesla store, you go to this touchscreen, you say, buy lease, new used, and you say, buy lease, you see our cars. But you see them in Norway, you see them in Italy. So wherever the market is best at that moment, we will put the cars there. We give them a second life. After the 8 years, we take out the battery, and we put them in our AllElectric Street houses, or in your office, or in your university, or whatever. So basically, the takeaway is that we, as companies pioneering in EVs, we have to think on a longer scale. What can we make money in 5, 6, or 8 years? Do we have the right stakes in the right companies in 5, 6, 7, 8 years' time? The picture up left is the VIN number 1. I think it's the same color as yours. So I was there coincidentally, and they said, well, this is really the first Model S being delivered. During that same trip last year, I was at the headquarters of Zero Motorcycles, and I saw this very proud sheriff. I don't know if it's a sheriff, but I said, can I make a picture of you? Because this is an electric motorcycle, but it's also equipped as a police bike. So I said, well, can I also see your gun? Because in Europe it's very special that you see guns. And so he took off his jacket, and it was a very nice picture, I think. So I have a question. The secondary hand market, especially if we're looking at the Netherlands, is very successful, but it's only a B2B offering. So if you are a business, you get a lot of fiscal incentives and so on. So what I'm worried about, or not worried about, how can we create these new opportunities, what do we have to do to make sure the second-hand market will be picked up by private individuals? So do you think it should be free parking or bus lanes to offer these people who are going to buy a second-hand? Because I think it's very important to create this second-hand market. Or is it done by fiscal incentives? Well, Norway, there you go. Oh, okay. Okay, so I think it's a combination of the two. Thank you. So, as mentioned, we are a financial institution. We have a lot of expertise on all these different kinds of silos, knowledge silos. So what I think is, especially looking at the AllElectric Street, having renewable energy, having batteries, having... we have to work together. We have to package things. We have to make sure people really think, okay, this is what I want. I understand the product. I think your story, Mr. Norway, was very nice about they forget the upfront cost, but the ease of having the ability to drive on the bus lane, I mean, that's something you experience every single day. So for me, that was a very nice insight. Oh yeah, Mr. Scott, of course. So when I approached Elon Musk, when I heard your story, I thought, well, maybe it was better I worked for Elon Musk in 2010, because then, you know, then the company was very, very small, and we did a lot of these Tesla Model S's. So, okay, so invest now in future business models and stretch your outlook. That's basically the key of my story. We were not there, but if we give ourselves a longer outlook, and I know it's hard to defend within the corporate environment, but I think this is what we should do. And let's multiply all these corporate car parks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So now you know all about the leasing, but also the story of getting there. And what I'm looking forward to is, you know, what is the next step forward? But we will discuss that in the panel.